Tubman once said, "Always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world." Harriet Tubman had a goal for herself and for this country. She wanted freedom and equality for everyone. We now enjoy the freedoms that she fought for. I first learned about Harriet Tubman in 3rd grade when I had to do a similar project to this. I had to read her biography and dress up and do a little speech for some parents. That assignment changed my perspective of the privileges and freedoms and rights that we have in America today. Harriet Tubman truly lived up to her words and changed the world for the better. Today I'm going to be talking about Harriet Tubman's sacrifices, her time as the conductor on the Underground Railroad, and her role in the Civil War. To start off, she made so many sacrifices for abolition. The sacrifices she made were personal and for the betterment of everybody. According to the Women's National History Museum, her fight for freedom started at 13 in a local store. She was running errands and witnessed a slave trying to escape, and instead of helping the slave master recapture said slave, she did nothing. And the slave master threw a weight at her head, leaving her with chronic headaches, seizures, and narcolepsy that she would suffer from for the rest of her life. She also had to give up her first marriage. She was married to John Tubman, and she decided she was going to go to Philadelphia to seek out her freedom. He did not want to go because he was afraid of losing his freedom status, so she left. She frequently gave up her safety when leading people to safety and freedom. After the Fugitive Slave Act was passed, this made it very likely that she would be sent back to her plantation into slavery, as well as everyone else that she was leading to freedom. Once she gained her freedom in Philadelphia, this only made her want to fight for freedom more for other people. And her time on the Underground Railroad was evidence of that. Once she escaped to Philadelphia, she made connections with abolitionists, and her first trip leading people to freedom was in 1850. On this trip, she led friends and family to Philadelphia. On the second trip, this also happened in 1850, she went to get her husband. This is also when she found out about his new and pregnant wife, so he didn't go with her. The Fugitive Slave Act was passed in 1850 after her first 2 trips. This made it even more dangerous for her and everyone she was leading to be going back and forth from Canada to the South. She became infamous as a conductor and had a $40,000 bounty on her recapture, which is approximately $1.5 million in today's money. In total, she made 13 trips between the years 1850 and 1860, and she gained the nickname Moses from William Lloyd Garrison, who was a famous abolitionist of the time. Now that you know how dedicated she was to individual freedoms, I want to talk about her large-scale change as her role in the Civil War. She was a nurse and a spy for the Union during the Civil War, but just before this, she had settled in Auburn, New York, after Francis Seward gave her an opportunity to own property there. This was a very politically heated area, especially on the issue of abolition. But she had her freedom, she had her family's freedom, and she wanted freedom for the entire country, so she did not stop there. So she planned a revolt with John Brown. However, this raid did not, it failed, and this ended in Brown's arrest and eventually his hanging. In an article from the National Park Service, when the Civil War broke out in 1861, Harriet Tubman enlisted as a nurse in the Union Army. She did this for 2 years until she incited a group of spies to assist Colonel Montgomery to free more slaves. They led the Combahee River Raid, which freed approximately 750 slaves from Confederate forces. Harriet Tubman is regarded as the first woman to lead and plan a successful military raid. After the war, she settled down and married her second husband, Nelson Davis. However, her philanthropy work never truly stopped. I want to remind you of what we talked about today. Harriet Tubman did so much for our country and the development of our country and our rights today. She gave sacrifices for her vision, gave years of her life to small-scale change and to large-scale change. So my question for you is, what do you see in the world that needs changing, and what are you going to do about it?